What is up? Welcome to another edition of Sactown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason, and today we are back doing the second half of our top 10 films of 2021. So if you missed our first show, we basically did a top 10, which was basically our number 10 through number 6. So this will be the top half of our show, which is a number 5 through number 1. I've got a couple honorable mentions. You might name off a few. I don't think you provided those to me, but you can always name off a few or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I definitely will, yeah.
Yeah. But I say without further ado, I say we don't waste any time because we got a lot of films to cover. I say we get right into it. And I'm going to go ahead and start this off. So my number 5 film of 2021 is going to be A Quiet Place 2. So just a really, really good horror film. I love the first one. I like this one because it gave us a little bit more, context, background of the family, and it kind of actually took us back to when the alien invasion first started, and then into the present, after everything unfolded in the first half, and just like the family just kind of basically still kind of on the run, trying to take shelter, and then also trying to figure out a way to, because they figure out in part 1 ways to basically kind of kill or not kill the aliens, but kind of assist you in killing the aliens, I guess, if you will. And so they want to find a way to basically bring this to the masses of the people that are still left alive in the U.S. anyways. And so that's basically kind of the plot point of this one. But I liked it. It's not quite as good as the first one, in my opinion, but it's definitely up there as well. As far as sequels go, I think this is a pretty solid sequel. So definitely curious to see if they're going to do a third one, which I'm assuming they would. Definitely would love to see where it goes with that. But I just thought it was a really, really good film, and definitely one that I own and enjoy and have seen twice now, and still liked it the second time as well. So.
Yep, I totally agree. I liked it a lot. Like you, I didn't like it quite as much as the first one. It doesn't quite have the novelty of the first one. It's not new anymore, but it's really well done. It expands the world, of the first one, but still focuses on a solid story. And I really like with both of these that there's no frills. Both of them are pretty like 90, 100 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, there's no downtime in either one of these. There's, they pretty much, like the first one, you pretty much start, they're already hiding from the aliens.
Yeah.
This one, they start basically, they're at like a ball game as the alien invasion is taking place. It's like day 1 of the alien invasion, and then things are just moving rapidly, within like the first 20 minutes of the film. So yeah, like in fact, like the opening scene is my favorite scene in the whole movie. I mean, it's just a really great scene, but the whole thing is good. It's just straight ahead suspense and no frills, and yeah, it's just good solid movie making. Agreed.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you're adding about Quiet Place?
Nope.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I love it. It's awesome. Number 5.
I love it. It's awesome. It's like number 38.
Something.
Something. Yeah.
All right. Well, moving right along to another film that you love. You're number 5. So I'll go ahead and bring that in. And that is going to be the Sparks Brothers.
Sparks Brothers. I'm not the only one who loves this movie. It's got like a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes or something.
I don't know anybody that's seen it, to be honest with you. So I'm sure there's other people who love it, critics. But I have heard nobody talking about this, and I personally haven't seen it. But carry on.
Gee, thanks. Okay, so one of my favorite, I got two favorite genres, and one is horror and one is documentary. This is a documentary. I also love music. It's a music documentary. So it's like, I watch a music documentary about pretty much anybody, even if I don't know who they are, which is the case here. This is a story about the band Sparks that started in the early 70s and are still recording music to this day. And they have amassed like a relatively small but very devoted cult following. And to be honest, I had barely heard of them before I watched this movie. But after the documentary was over, I went and got almost every album they've ever put out, which is a lot. I couldn't get them all because that would have been like a small fortune, but I got a whole lot of them. And I've been really enjoying getting into their catalog because they make music that's not, it's like every every genre at once, and it's not like any genre at the same time. It's just really interesting music, really cool, funny, weird music, and tuneful, and just like, I don't know, they kind of blew my mind. Just watching the documentary, I was like, oh, I can't wait to dig into this stuff. But it's a really entertaining documentary. It's directed by Edgar Wright, who is, not well known for documentaries, but this is his first documentary. But it shows that he's definitely got a knack for it. But it's no surprise that he's a big fan of music, because all of his movies, or most of them, have really, you can tell the soundtracks have been really specifically chosen, like Baby Driver, like Shaun of the Dead, like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. The music, especially the pop music soundtrack part of the film, is always very important. Last Night in Soho, same thing. Clearly a big music fan. So he's a big fan of Sparks. He rounded up a bunch of other famous fans of Sparks. And in short, in about 2 hours, they turned me from like barely knowing who they were to being like a huge fan. So it's just a really entertaining, fun documentary. They're really interesting dudes with very unique stories. I'll put it that way. So yeah, it's just a really great music documentary, and it's on Netflix. What do you got to lose?
Cool. Thanks for plugging that for everybody, because I'm pretty sure most people haven't seen it. But maybe they will now. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll love it. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it. But I'm sure it's fantastic.
Oh, it is.
Cool. Maybe I'll check it out sometime. We'll see.
You better.
We'll see. Moving on to my number 4.
It's got almost 7,000 reviews on Letterboxd. Okay, so that's a lot of regular people. All right, so
I'm just saying I don't know anybody that's seen it. I know a lot of movie people, but I don't know anybody outside of you that has seen it. So, but so I mean, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. But moving along to my number 4. I'll bring that in, and that is going to be Cop Shop. So I'm an action fan. I love action movies. So this is not the only one that's going to be an action film that appears on my top. That's in my top 5. But this is definitely a really, really fun action film. I love action films. I love prison films. I love films that have twists. This one has some sort of a twist as well. So it stars Gerard Butler as basically kind of like a hitman, and Frank Grillo, who basically is kind of like in trouble with some mobster people. Gerard Butler's character is basically trying to kill Frank Grillo's character, who basically decides, in order to get away from him, that he's going to basically get himself thrown in jail purposely to get away from him. Only Gerard Butler's character also gets himself thrown in jail in order to get him. And that's basically where things unfold from there. And like I said, it's got a lot of great action. It's a little bit of a slow burn to begin with, but the second half, especially once a particular character shows up about midway through, it just goes like bananas after that particular point, and it's just so much fun. So it's just a fun action film. You know what I mean? It kind of kind of like Nobody in a way, where it's kind of like a little bit slower to begin with, but then once things get going, it's just crazy bananas action. So and I like films like that. Those are the kind of films that gravitate towards for me, and that's why it's number 4 on my countdown. Cop Shop.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I am, for the most part, a pretty big Joe Carnahan fan, and this was kind of his super adrenalized, pumped up assault on Precinct 13, more or less, and it's also the movie that finally made me like Gerard Butler in something, because I've just never been a fan of Gerard Butler. I mean, he seems like a nice guy, he's a good actor, but it's like, whenever Gerard Butler's in a movie, it's just like, oh, another Gerard Butler movie. I don't know, but I think he was the highlight in this movie to me. Like, I mean, his character was the best, had the most interesting arc, and coincidentally, I've always been a big fan of Frank Grillo, and Frank Grillo actually was my least favorite part of this movie.
Yeah, I've heard a few people
Yeah.
say that as well. About him.
I think it's the hair. It's the hair. I think it's the hair, which is silly, but it's the hair.
But a lot of people didn't care for him, but he didn't bother me personally. I liked it.
Yeah.
I loved it and thought it was fantastic. So
yeah. No, yeah, it was cool. It was fun. Good movie.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along to year number 4. Go ahead and bring that in for you. It's going to be Pig.
Pig, yes. Oh, I love Pig. Yeah, it is. I think what I really enjoyed about Pig was that when you hear that it's a revenge movie starring Nicolas Cage, where he, hunts down the person who took his prize truffle hunting pig, all these thoughts come into your head that it's going to be like a wild, like Mandy style revenge movie or something like that. And I really liked that this kind of bucked all those expectations, and it's a totally different kind of movie. And I really loved it. I love that it's a revenge movie that actually doesn't hinge on violence. Not that I don't love violent revenge movies. I love violent revenge movies, but it is more of a character study. It creates this whole subculture of like truffle hunting that I didn't even realize existed. And I'm sure it doesn't exist in this way, but what I'm saying is it creates a unique world that I've never quite seen in a movie before. And it's surprisingly tender. It's surprisingly emotional. I think Nicolas Cage is fantastic in it. It's unpredictable and really just a well-acted, surprisingly kind of beautiful movie. But it's also got humor, and it's also got some violence, and it's just a really good movie. Really good movie. Yeah. Loved it.
All right. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of this one. I actually thought that I went the other way with that. I thought that it should have had a little bit more of the action, for a revenge film. The pacing was just kind of slow for me. I didn't really care at one particular point, and then just even the resolution was just kind of a letdown for me. So I just wasn't a fan of it. Just didn't jive with me. I prefer my Nicolas Cage to be Crazy Cage. I
love Crazy Cage too.
Yeah, there wasn't enough of that for me. So it was just kind of bland and watered down to me. So so nothing special about this one for me, unfortunately.
Well, you're wrong, but it's okay.
I'm right. Cool. But there are people that liked it. So and there are people that didn't like it, and I'm in the didn't like it camp. So
whatever.
All right, well, moving right along to my number 3 film, and that is actually going to be Zack Snyder's Justice League. So yeah, I just love the heck out of this film. I'm actually one of the few people that actually more or less enjoyed the other version with James Gunn, I believe.
Joss Whedon.
Oh, Joss Whedon. That's right.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got him confused. Joss Whedon. They both do a lot of superhero films. So
yeah.
So I didn't dislike that one. I know a lot of people just loathe that one for some reason. I didn't dislike it. I didn't think it was like amazing or anything like that. But I actually liked it. I thought it was decent, or fun, and overall. But this one, like, I definitely can see what was missing from the film. They added, they just fleshed the film out. Obviously, it's like 3 hours long or whatever it is, or 4 hours.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what happened to the picture there, but it just kind of zoned out for a second. I don't know.
You're back though. Yeah.
Something going on with Be Live. I don't know.
Anyway. They're mad about your thoughts on Pig, I think.
Yeah. That's probably it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this one just fleshed out the story considerably. It gave a lot of the background characters a little bit more life, which was great. And then they just made they just made it look better, more cool, more interesting. Like I said, just giving more time for all the individual characters to shine, I thought just enhanced the film quite a bit significantly. And I just thought it was just, it's one of my favorite superhero movies, probably of all time. It's definitely up there for me. It's definitely in my probably, top 10 of superhero movies, probably off the top of my head. I just loved it. I thought it was great. It's just epic. It's a great story. And we've already had this conversation. I've always been more prone to DC characters just because they're darker, a little more edgy. I always feel like, Marvel's kind of Disneyland. You know what I mean? It's Disney. You know what I mean? Disney owns Marvel. And so it feels kind of Disney-ish a lot of times with the Marvel films. Even the ones I like, they always just feel kind of, I don't know. They just feel
low stakes.
Yeah. These ones, I feel like the stakes feel a little bit higher. And and just like that darker edginess of it, just, I don't know. I just like that aspect of the film. And that's why it's number 4 in my countdown.
Cool.
Number
3. Yeah. See what you did, mixing it up. I love this movie. I loved it. I was one of the people that really didn't care for the original version of Justice League, and I think that's because I was one of the. Speaking of divisive movies, I was one of the seemingly few people that really loved Batman versus Superman. I thought it was great. So I was really hoping for something that felt as deep and rich as that for the Justice League movie, and it wasn't. It was just kind of popcorny, silly, kind of just. I forgot about it instantly, pretty much. This version of the movie though was awesome. I know Zack Snyder. People love him, people hate him. I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder. I've really liked almost everything he's done. I think he is underrated as a filmmaker because he does have a very distinct style visually and otherwise. Yeah. And that's something I look for in filmmakers is distinctly. You know what I mean? Their work stands out. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, it stands out. Yeah. And his work certainly does. I love this movie. I really, really loved it. When it came to making my top 10 though, it just felt kind of weird to put a movie that's like a new version of something that was made years ago in the top 10. I don't know. It could be because I've only seen it once and it was a year ago. I need to watch it again, but it just felt not right to put it in the top 10 for this current year. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of like if you put like
to me. I mean, some of the lines are the same, some of the things are the same, but it's a different film for sure.
Oh, it's a totally different film. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, like, it would have felt the same way putting like Apocalypse Now Redux in my top 10 for whatever year they released that. You know what I mean? It's just like it wasn't made and released that year, so it felt kind of wrong putting it in
his
the top
version
10.
was though. So that's so
yeah. Not that I like Apocalypse Now Redux. I'm theatrical cut all the way on.
For me, I akin it to it being a remake, but with the same actors.
So, yeah. But
that's why
I loved it. It just felt weird to put it in the top 10. That's the only reason it's not there, though. Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Wrong, but understandable.
Yeah.
Well, this is actually going to be interesting. So this will be interesting. Moving on to your number 3. While we're on the subject, is actually going to be Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead, yeah. Speaking of Zack Snyder and underrated movies, I just had an absolute ball with this movie. It is his return to zombie movies, following what I still believe to be his best movie of all, which is the Dawn of the Dead remake. I still think that's his best, most satisfying movie, and so I was super excited to see what he would do going back to that genre, and I think it's just an awesome movie. Saw it twice, and I liked it even more the second time. To me, it's just like a great premise, Las Vegas, walled off, filled with zombies, kind of Escape from New York like, and ragtag group of renegades going in to rescue not a person but a thing. This time they're in there to it's a heist movie, it's a zombie movie, it's an Escape from New York style movie. I don't know, I love it. I know some people really don't like it, but I think it's got all those things I look to a Zack Snyder movie for. It's got like action, it's got surprising soundtrack cuts, it's got visual style, it's got characters that are cool but that you care about, I don't know. I absolutely love it. Army of the Dead, number 2. Not in the poop sense, but number 2 for the year. number 3.
Yeah,
Number 3. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, number 3.
Switch this up. We both are getting confused.
See, we're mixed up. Yeah.
I loved Army of Dead quite a bit as well. This one was in my top 10 for quite some time, but because we saw it so early in the year, that I saw so many films around like late, October, November, December, and it just unfortunately slowly kept getting pushed out of my top 10. So it actually ends up number 11 for me. So it literally just misses my top 10. But I love this movie. It is so much fun. It is a really, really good zombie movie. Definitely great. I like the take on it. I like that it was, that it was just relegated to basically one city, versus being like a worldwide pandemic outbreak.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a different take of it because, most zombie films are, on a larger scale for the most part. So I did like that this was kind of maybe just relegated to just, one particular city that's basically walled off.
At least in the beginning. Yeah.
And then, also just with the, the group of team that they assemble, they all have different sets of skills that they bring back into Vegas in order to retrieve or crack this safe or whatever. I thought it was fun. It's a just really good, really good fun movie. One that I would definitely own if it wasn't on Netflix, because it's almost impossible to own anything that comes out on Netflix, and I still don't like that about them. But
maybe it'll come out on like Criterion or something. You never know.
Yeah.
If they put out Armageddon, they'll put out anything, right?
Yeah.
So, and also I'd like to add that like even though like I was kind of mixed on Army of Thieves. I liked it. I just didn't love it. I'm definitely up for expanding this world, which I think they plan to do because I think both of them were pretty successful.
Yeah, I think they will kind of expand the world a little bit. Like you said, and definitely do. I think there's another plan for another prequel because Army of Thieves was a prequel, but there's another prequel, I think, exploring the actual zombie, where that comes from. I think they're going to explore that, and then there might be a sequel as well to this one also, I believe. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I'm all there for it. Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
And that poster, I mean, look at that poster. That's just a great poster. You got neon, you got like an atomic bomb, you got like skull with guns and dollars.
You got it all.
It's just like cool poster, cool movie.
You got it all.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, great choice for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Moving on to my number 2. I'm going to bring that bad boy in. And this one was actually one that I saw pretty much later than everything else. And that is going to be Riders of Justice. So that was one that I initially, I couldn't find it for one, or if I could find it, it was like $20 streaming everywhere. I don't know how long it played in theaters or if it played in theaters, but I definitely know it didn't play very long. But it's a foreign film that stars Mads Mikkelsen. We just did a review on this one not that long ago also, so don't need to elaborate on it too much. But this movie it's just great. Just real quick, brief synopsis is basically he is some sort of like elite, special ops soldier that's always like kind of gone from his family, and he's got a wife and a daughter at home that he rarely ever sees, and he was supposed to come home. It just like kind of like one of those turn of events. He was supposed to come home. He ends up not coming home, and so his daughter and wife end up taking like a train home to go back to their house. And there was a gentleman that was sitting in the seat on the train who, to be a nice gentleman, decides to get up and give this guy's Mads Mikkelsen's wife a seat. So she sits down in his spot, and unfortunately there's an explosion on the train that ends up killing the wife. And so basically, long story short, if he had been sitting in that seat, he would have died. But since he got up, she died. But the survivor, he basically starts looking into it. He thinks that it might not be an accident. He feels like, maybe something was set up. We soon learned that on that train, there was actually a member of a gang called Riders of Justice that was actually on that train that was set to testify that day. And so he begins some research and starts thinking about some possibilities that happened. People that like got off the train right before it docked off the station. Leads him to believe that basically comes to the conclusion that it was a hit. It was a calculated hit on one of the members of Riders of Justice, so that the guy wouldn't testify. and they present this information to this elite special ops soldier, who then actually decides to go out and kill the members of the Riders of Justice. And so that's basically a brief synopsis. Long story short, it's a funny. It's got a lot of action in it. It's got some really, really intense action scenes, but it's also really funny as well. There's a lot of humor in it. Like, it's a foreign film, so you do have to read the subtitles, of course. But the humor in it, I thought, was really, really funny. It's got a lot of different twists and turns. All the characters in this film are like super, super interesting as well. They're all kind of just different, interesting, and weird. There's a lot of weird characters that show up throughout the film as well. But like I said, I just loved it. I meant to buy it already on Blu-ray, I just haven't yet. Maybe I'll do that tonight. As soon as we finish this, I'll buy it, because it's definitely one that I want to watch again and want to own for sure, because I just love this film so much. And that is my number 2.
Yeah, I really liked it too. I like that it wasn't quite the movie I was expecting from the poster, like, not that it's a bad poster, but I was just kind of expecting like your average, action movie or something like that. And it's not really, it's not, it has a ton of action, and it's really good action, but it's also, like you said, very funny. It's unpredictable. It is got kind of a quirky sense of humor,
very quirky sense of humor. And like I said, it's like one of those films that you think is going to be kind of like you said, kind of like another like John Wick type film or something of that nature, like some revenge film. And it is a revenge film, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But it's just got so much humor in it, and it's got some twists and turns that happen as well, that make it separated from just a regular revenge film or a John Wick copycat or something of that nature. So
I mean, honestly, you put like Liam Neeson's head on in that poster. It's basically, oh great, another Liam Neeson movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Character.
Where he's doing some revenge, he's going to be doing this or whatever. Yeah, no, for sure.
But it's not that kind of movie. Yeah, it is completely different. Yeah,
not at all. For sure.
Yeah,
cool.
So yeah, thumbs up.
Cool. All right, moving on to your number 2, and that is going to be The Green Knight.
The Green Knight, yeah, another one that you're a big fan of. I remember.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I like the bottom half of your top 10 more than your top 10. No, that's not 100%. There's an equal mix of films that I didn't like.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. Well, The Green Knight is definitely not for everybody, but it is 100% for me. It is it's based on the story of The Green Knight, which was written by an anonymous human many years ago. And it's a quest movie. It's about Sir Gawain, the Green Knight, who basically, don't want to really spoil the opening scene because it's such a good scene, but he accepts a challenge that he ends up regretting and having to pay for a year later. And the bulk of the movie is his journey from point A to point B to essentially make good on his debt. And along the way, there's a lot of strange, creepy, haunting, unusual things that happen. And it's a very unique movie, very unusual movie. It's one of my favorite up-and-coming filmmakers, David Lowery, who did, he did The Pete's Dragon remake, which is kind of an odd one to compare to this one because they couldn't be less similar in tone, but they're both equally excellent. And he did, what else? He did The Old Man and the Gun, A Ghost Story, which is another movie kind of like this. It's kind of sort of a horror movie, but not really. But he's one of my favorite upcoming filmmakers. And to me, this was like my kind of movie. It's unpredictable. It's eerie. It is just a totally unique movie. I was hooked every minute of the journey, and I know that's not everybody's experience, but I was definitely down for the ride on this one. One of a kind, I think.
All right. Yeah, I kind of have the same issue with this one that I have about Pig. Like with Nicolas Cage, you're kind of expecting like a crazy pig. You liked it. It didn't do that. I thought it was a hindrance. This one kind of in that same tone. It's a medieval time film where they're dressed like in knights with chainmail and things of this nature, and there really ain't no battle scenes. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a guy on this journey, on this quest, and he doesn't have to do any sword battles or fights or anything of that nature. So it just wasn't that interesting to me. I just didn't care for it. I know there are some people that like it and love it, but I know a lot of people that are in the same camp with me on that in terms of they just expected a little more from it, and it just it just didn't deliver for me. So it was like one of those films when it was over, I was kind of like, that was it. That was the film. You know what I mean? So it just left me feeling like just, I don't know, unsatisfied for sure. So I didn't care for this one. So.
All right.
Simple as that. So we've already had this discussion. So
yeah.
But yeah. Anything else you want to add about The Green Knight?
No. Only that is amazing.
All right, we'll leave it at that. And my number one film of 2021, you probably already know what this film is because I liked it way early in the year. It was like one of the first films.
It was like January or something, right?
Yeah, it's just like one of those films that's still stuck. Even after rewatching, I saw it again, like, I don't know, like in like September, October or something, and it's still actually I just saw it recently. Actually, I saw it. I showed it to my son. In the last month or two. So, and that
what do you think?
He loved it. He loved it.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
He enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah.
That film is actually going to be I Care a Lot. So it stars Rosamund Pike, who is basically a really nasty person. So a lot of people I know that didn't care for this film didn't care for it because she was so nasty.
Missing the point.
Yeah. She is basically the kind of person that if you have basically she preys on the elderly. So basically what she does, she runs basically, she basically what she does is they basically pick out elderly people that, like live alone, have some money, have a lot of good retirement, have a lot of valuables and things of this nature. And they basically find ways to have a doctor basically dredge up a felonious report about the person's mental health. And they go before the court in front of a judge without the actual elderly person being there or the senior person being there. They go to the court and they basically argue to the judge that this person is incapable of caring for themselves and that she should be their caregiver, and she's going to take care of them and make sure that, they can enjoy the remaining years of their life. And he usually grants permission for them to be a caregiver. And as soon as he grants permission for her to be the caregiver, she basically comes to their house with like the police, has the person thrown in like a nursing home, basically, where the person is unable to leave, doesn't have access to their phones, and then basically hops them up on drugs. So they're basically out of the loop. While she then goes in and basically starts selling their house, all their valuables immediately, and basically makes a profit off of those people. Yeah. And so she just has 40, 50 people that she basically is the caregiver for until, of course, they die. And then she basically just, keeps all the money. So, this one she runs into some trouble because she finds I forget what she calls, like the golden ticket or something. She calls them something. I can't remember what she calls them.
Yeah.
But she finds somebody that's like the perfect scenario for her in terms of, that whole scenario, not having any family, not having any relatives, has tons of, money stashed away and all this other kind of stuff. It does this to this person, but doesn't realize that this person that she, does this to is not exactly who she says that she is. And she's got some people that are actually do care about her and are actually looking for this woman. And basically she ends up getting tangled with like these mobsters. Basically.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of leave it at that. So it's a really, really interesting film. It's a comedy. Like I said, the people that I know that didn't care for it primarily because of, how nasty she was to old people, but it's a movie. I mean, just, it's a movie, you like the movie on its own merit or not. And then this isn't like the most outrageous, film I've ever seen, where they do stuff like that. What was the other film that's similar to that with Paul Giamatti? Was it Win-Win or no? What was that one? Or he does the same thing, or there's like an older man, he was like taking care of him. Like he kind of like the old man's grandson is like this famous, like a good wrestler. And so he's just like wrestling, but he's the same.
Oh, I guess it is win-win then.
Yeah. He's the same thing. He was doing kind of the same thing where he gets a judge to grant him basically permission to be this person's caregiver, and he's basically just using and taking advantage of it. So kind of same scenario in that situation. So
yeah,
but that's my number one film of the year. I care a lot.
Yeah, and I do care. I do care a lot about Yuki here. Yeah, no, I really like this movie also. Yeah, I think anybody who doesn't like it just because the main character is a bad person is missing the point. I mean, that's the point of the movie, is that she is a bad person, and it's. I mean, like, it's complicated because she gets what's coming to her, but at the same time, she is the protagonist, so you can't help but root for her a little bit because the people who are coming after her are even worse.
Yeah.
You know, are even worse.
There's no real, exactly, and there's no real. I mean, the only innocent people are probably the people that she's done this to before,
right? That aren't in the movie, really. You know,
really in the movie, but all the people that she's dealing with are not, on the up and up. Even the old lady who she ends up throwing in the home, who she's obviously lying about her identity and things of that nature as well. So there's no good people in this movie. And this lady does get, she does get her fair share of, injuries and hurt and things happening to her throughout the course of the film. That's for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a dark comedy. I mean, like, it's a dark comedy. Why, what would be the point of making a dark comedy about a nice person? You know what I mean? That's what makes it a dark comedy. But yeah, I really, really liked it. I've only seen it the one time, and it's been like, what was that, February 19th, around then? So it's been a while, but my memories of it are strong, and that I had a good time watching it. Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Another one where I would love to own it. But it's on Netflix. So. Yeah.
Well, hey, I guess you can watch it anytime on Netflix, I guess.
Yeah, that is true. I can watch it anytime I want on Netflix, but I like the physical,
Me too.
On my shelf to look at,
Me too. We're old fashioned. Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, special features. I mean, like, commentary, making of,
nice case, whatever, but, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future. Maybe Netflix will change their policy and allow movies to get re-released. So. Yeah. I
mean, they have put some stuff out on physical copies, but it hasn't been very many.
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's it's rare than when they do. That's for sure.
Yeah.
HBO and Max, on the other hand, they do it right.
Yeah.
They do it right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that's because those are Warner Brothers movies. But it's a changing world.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, moving right along to your number one film of the year, and that is going to be Summer of Soul.
Summer of Soul. Yeah, this was definitely my my favorite experience going to the movies this year. And it's again, like, it's a music documentary. In this case, it is a documentary about a festival that happened. I forgot to brush up on the research before we filmed this. I'm realizing right now, so I don't remember the specifics.
69 or something like that.
Yeah, 69. It was billed as the Black Woodstock, basically.
Right.
But
it was the same year as Woodstock.
Yeah. And it happened, and unlike the other Woodstock, this one just kind of disappeared in time because. Even though it was filmed, the film was just basically sitting around, rotting in a basement somewhere. And again, I forgot to brush up on the research. I don't remember. They go into the background of how the footage was discovered and restored, but it's just it's an amazing thing that happened, and it's kind of sad until before now that it was forgotten. So it's a really interesting documentary. It's got amazing performance footage. And it's got a lot of really interesting recollections of people who were there. And it's just a really kind of joyous celebration of community and of music. And it's just entertaining. It makes you feel good. I mean, like, it feeds the soul, this kind of movie for me. And definitely my favorite experience of the year at the movies. Yeah. So yeah, highly recommended. Again, this one, I don't know how Hulu does it. I don't know. I kind of sense that this one will come out on a special edition Blu-ray at some point. I just get that feeling. But in the meantime, I don't intend on giving it my Hulu subscription, so I can watch it on Hulu anytime I want, I guess. So
yeah. Well, yeah.
yeah.
I never get up Netflix either, so yeah, I can watch any of the films that don't come out. But
yeah.
I don't know. I just like to own the films, especially the ones in my top 10. So.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I loved it. Highly recommended. Yep, number 1 for me.
No, it's great. Yeah, I really do enjoy it quite a bit for sure. I'm not as big into documentaries as you are. I don't know. My thing about documentaries is I kind of watch them once, and very few I ever like revisit or watch again. So I never just don't include in my top 10 just for the simple fact that I rarely ever rewatch them again. So and if I do, it's just like one more time, maybe to show somebody or something of that nature. But yeah, this one's great. I loved it. The music's great. It plays like a concert, you know what I mean? And that's the other thing. It's kind of like watching, Michael Jackson live or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy it, but it's like, I mean, this one's a little different because they do have a little bit more background interviews and things of that nature, but essentially it's a concert film. And for me, it's just hard to get, to really rewatch a concert film. I'd rather just listen to the soundtrack. So, or see it live, you know what I mean? So, so for me, it's just hard to, justify putting in my top 10 for what I essentially consider to be a concert film. So, but yeah, I liked it though. I do like it. It's in my honorable mentions, which I'll get into in just a second here. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah. Good choice for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
So just real quick, so my honorable mentions, we kind of touched on a few of them already, and they're kind of roughly in some sort of order, but not physically. So Army of the Dead, Malignant. I really like Psycho Goreman a lot. I know you didn't care for that one quite as much. 8-Bit Christmas, Summer Soul, Willy's Wonderland, and I just included all the Fear Streets together. So
yeah. Okay, for me, I'm just gonna rattle off a bunch real quick. I'm gonna have to go to this other screen to do it, but just a few to go by. Bo Burnham's Inside, Zola, The Last Duel, Justice League, Passing, The Suicide Squad, In the Heights, Black Widow, Shiva Baby, The Fear Street Trilogy, Licorice Pizza, The Night House, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, Spencer, Riders of Justice, About Endlessness, Nobody, Wrath of Man, Halloween Kills, I Care a Lot, Werewolves Within, VHS 94, No Sun Move, Willy's Wonderland, The Beta Test, The Humans, Quiet Place 2, West Side Story, Power of the Dog, 9 Days, Boss Level. I could keep going, but that's the top ones.
The cream of the crop, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I settle usually around the top 25 or 28 or something like that. I know you have like a top 50 every year, so so you could go on for hours probably. But a lot of those ones would probably be, if I continued going in my top 25 or so, a lot of those ones would pop up in there as well. So
yeah.
That's it. That's our list. So let us know down in the comments. Did you? Yeah. Did we miss any? Did you love them all? Did you hate them all? We don't know. If you hated all 20 films in our countdown, then I don't know what kind of films you like. So you definitely have to share with us your top 10.
Yeah.
I would be highly curious to see what shows up on there. And we didn't see some of the some of the like the Drive My Car and things of that nature yet. So just FYI. So the list could change over time if we see some of the ones that we miss. So just throw that caveat. I just don't like waiting until summer of 2022 and I'm still watching 2021 films in order to do my top 10. So we're already later than most people. So but cool. Well, like I said, always, if you like the channel, we ask that you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification, and we'll be back again soon with another show. We thank you for watching and hope you have a great day. Bye.